You're watching a total solar eclipse here on timeanddate.com, and we're looking at some gorgeous images there from San Diego, California and Arkadelphia, Arkansas. We can see that the moon has started eating away at the sun, so the eclipse has begun in Arkansas as well. So we're excited about that. We have been experiencing some problems getting our images in from Mazatlan. There's some technical issues there. We're really sorry about that. We're trying to see what we can do, but we still have telescopes here waiting for totality, so we're not going to miss totality of this total solar eclipse. We're getting questions and comments on YouTube about the sunspots, Graham.
Right. Looking at the feed coming in there from San Diego, we can see two dark spots on the surface of the sun, and those are indeed sunspots. Yeah, the sun is a big ball of plasma, kind of a big ball of charged gas, and there's lots of activity going on. There's lots of magnetic field activity going on, and there are some regions which are cooler than others. And where we have these cooler regions, that is what produces these dark areas known as sunspots. Now, Anna, the sun does have an 11-year solar cycle where we tend to go from very low numbers of sunspots to generally much higher number of sunspots. And we are nearing the solar maximum in this 11-year cycle. We are getting close to the period where we would expect to see a high number of sunspots. And so there has been a lot of expectation and a lot of people looking forward to being able to see a lot of sunspots during this eclipse. In fact, the sun is fairly quiet at the moment, and we really do just have these two sunspots that are visible on this side of the sun at the moment. So yeah, a lot quieter and a lot fewer sunspots than we might have expected for this eclipse. But yeah, on the feed there from San Diego, we can see those two dark spots, one slightly larger than the other. Yeah, slightly cooler regions of the sun's surface.
But back home in Norway, we've been experiencing a lot of aurora lately, and I think that has to do with the sunspots, right? Like, it's got to do with activity on the sun, right?
It does, yeah. This 11-year solar cycle, it really that's really a cycle for how active the sun is. And when the sun is active, that's when we get more sunspots, and that's also when we get more aurora here on Earth. That's right. We get more prominences. We tend to get more solar flares. The sun is chucking out a lot more stuff in Earth's direction. So you're right. In Norway, this winter has been a good period for aurora. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just go out, look north, and you might be lucky to see some. It's really amazing. Does it affect the eclipse in any way? This active sun?
Well, one thing that when we come to totality, and we'll be talking about this again a bit later, at totality, the real highlight there when the moon is covering the sun's visible surface is that we can see the solar corona, which is the outer part of the sun's atmosphere. It's there all the time, but it's much fainter than the sun's disk itself, so we usually can't see it. We can see it during totality, during a solar eclipse. And yeah, the shape of the corona, that also changes over the course of this 11-year solar cycle. Around solar maximum, the sun's corona is rather more symmetrical, whereas around solar minimum, the corona is kind of more stretched out, more like a pair of wings. So that is going to be something for us to have a look out for when we get to totality. Coming up here in Llano in less than an hour now, 1834 UTC, totality here in Llano. So we're getting close. We have to say that actually, I mean, here on the ground, really still nothing, nothing to see in the sky because of the clouds, but really nothing to see yet in terms of changes in light levels, or there's really no sense at all that anything is going on with the sun up there above the clouds. But that's all going to start to change rather dramatically over the course of the next, 40 minutes.
Yeah, and we're going to continue putting our eclipse glasses on, looking up, because as soon as that sky, those clouds get a bit lighter, we can actually see the sun through the clouds, and we have been looking at the sun, moon eating away at the sun, so it's been beautiful. If you're lucky enough to be in the path of totality, or even just in a partial area, use your eclipse glasses and take a look. If not, go to timeanddate.live and check out our live news feed. We've got pictures, we've got reactions, we've got all the interesting background stories. We even have stories from the road here in Texas, United States. So we will be back soon. In the meantime, we're going to be looking up at the sky and trying to find the sun. You're watching a total solar eclipse here on timeanddate.com, and we're getting excited. The light levels are changing here. We're using our glasses. We're looking up, and what is it, like 50%, Graham?
Yes. That is, we're getting up to around 50% here in Llano. That's right.
Yeah, so we're feeling like it's changing a little bit. But weather, we're challenging clouds everywhere. North America is full of clouds. Arkadelphia is struggling with clouds. Mexico, they're struggling with clouds. But what can we do? We can look up and see what we can see. So where are we, Graham, with the eclipse?
Well, if we take a look at our live eclipse map, this is on the right-hand side of the screen. This just above us, right? This shows us where the moon's dark shadow is right now, and it is racing across the Pacific, and it is just about to reach the coast of Mexico. The first city in North America to experience totality today is the city of Mazatlan on the Pacific coast of Mexico, and totality is starting there in the next minute, because as we can see, that red dot is just about to reach land on our live eclipse map there. As Anna was explaining earlier, unfortunately, we don't have images from Mazatlan today, but what we do have is the next city along the path of totality in Mexico. Once the shadow has passed over Mazatlan, next on its itinerary is the city of Torreon in Mexico, and our good friends at the Exploratorium have their telescopes on the ground there in Torreon. Totality there is starting at 1816, so that is less than 10 minutes. That shadow we can see on our map, it's moving at 2,500 kilometers an hour. That's like 1,500 miles per hour. So it is racing across Mexico. So we are hoping to bring you images of totality from Torreon, courtesy of our friends at the Exploratorium. But it's the story of the day. It is fingers crossed with the clouds. We have seen some beautiful images in Torreon, but we've also seen some very cloudy clouds as well. Yes, anything we can bring you from totality in Torreon, we're going to be sharing that from 1816. We're looking at just over 4 minutes, around 4 minutes and 10 seconds of totality from Torreon, and we're really hoping that we'll be able to share that here.
We have our fingers crossed. What are we going to be expecting to see, Graham?
Right. So as we approach totality, we have the crescent sun, which just gets narrower and narrower and narrower as the moon eats away more and more of the sun's disk. Eventually, the crescent gets so thin, and the two horns at either side of the crescent, they get so close that they kind of come together in this one bright jewel of remaining sunlight. Around the same time, we start to see the solar corona around the edge of the moon. This is the outer part of the sun's atmosphere. We can't normally see it because the sun itself is too bright, but when the moon covers the sun, it comes into view. The combination of this bright jewel of remaining sunlight plus the solar corona visible around the edge of the moon, that produces the effect famously known as the diamond ring. From there, we move quickly into the Bailey's beads stage of the eclipse. This is just the final blobs of sunlight that we can see, actually shining through deep valleys on the edge of the moon's surface. We have these blobs of light. That's the last remaining bit of sunlight we can see before totality begins. Then they disappear. Then the moon is covering the sun's disk completely. The solar corona becomes visible, this kind of ghostly shimmer around the edge of the moon.
Ah, there you go.
Here we are at Torreon, where we can see, right, the narrowing crescent sun. It's looking very faint because of the clouds there in Torreon. That crescent is going to get thinner and thinner over the next 6 minutes until it transitions to this diamond ring effect, these final blobs of light called Bailey speeds, and then 4 minutes, 10 seconds of totality.
It's magical. I'm very excited. It's even on the screen. But I've got my fingers crossed for Lana here as well. So we're super excited here. We're going to leave you to enjoy totality in Torreon. I'm blowing those clouds away with the wind here in Lano, and go to timeanddate.live and check out what's going on there. There's going to be pictures, reactions. There might even be something from Mathatlan there now. Who knows? So go in, have a look. We will be back soon, right before totality here in Lano. But in the meantime, enjoy. And we will see you back here in a few minutes. Wow. That was Torreon, Mexico. Wow, thank you so much, Exploratorium. That was just the taste, and I'm just everybody's getting excited around here, including me. My heart's pounding. There's chattering, there's music, there's eclipse glasses up at the sky because the light is really changing here. The sky is clear, and we're going to be seeing this total solar eclipse, and I can't even breathe thinking about it. I'm so excited. So, Graham, help me out.
Okay, let's think. Checking in on our eclipse map there, we can see the dark part of the moon's shadow is represented by that small red dot that is racing across North America at around about 2,500 kilometers an hour, which is about 1,500 miles per hour. It is just about to leave Mexico and cross into the United States. So totality about to hit the USA. We have two locations marked along the path of totality there. The first of those locations, that's us here in Llano in Texas. The second marker there is Arkadelphia in Arkansas. That's where we have our time and date telescopes waiting for totality there. Just a quick reminder that the sun is what, 90% eclipsed here, but still eclipse glasses are vitally important, even when there's just the tiniest slither of the moon's crescent remaining. Even through the diamond ring and Bailey's beads, eclipse glasses should be used for looking at any part of the sun. Once the sun is completely covered by the moon, once Bailey's beads has finished, once we're into totality, then eclipse glasses can be removed, and in fact should be removed, must be removed for enjoying the solar corona that surrounds the sun. The solar corona is about as bright as the full moon. So perfectly okay to look at the solar corona without eclipse glasses, as long as the sun's disk itself is completely covered by the moon.
Yeah. And here on this wide angle shot, we're going to show you how dark it gets here. Unfortunately, we don't have a telescope. We have our glasses, and we will be looking up, and we will have totality coming up telescope views coming up from Arkadelphia and Burlington. Fingers crossed, clouds and all. But yes, Torreon really, really wowed me. So now I don't know how to deal with anything anymore. The light is changing. It's just really, really kind of silvery, and you can almost like touch it. It does not feel like twilight. It's like white twilight. The temperature is dropping. We were in 32 degrees Celsius here. It's now down to 25. I can feel it. It's not only goosebumps, it's also the temperature dropping. The birds are they doing anything yet? They're chirping away.
There's certainly a lot of chirping
Yeah.
going on. I think certainly now, right, in the last few minutes, the light levels noticeably have really started to drop here. And that drop is, going to continue over the next 6 minutes until, right, the final minute before totality. That's when we have this sudden plunge in the light level. And that's what we're going to be sharing on our kind of, Anna and I are going to sort of clear out the way of this image of the visitor center here in Llano. And we will have, what have we got? We've got 4 minutes, 24 seconds of totality, going to be starting at 18:34 UTC.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the total solar eclipse of April 2024, live on timeanddate.com. And we've just had a little over 4 minutes of totality here in Llano, Texas. You were watching our wide angle camera view on the Llano Visitors Center here. I think you saw how amazingly quickly the light level dropped just before totality, and just how quickly the light came back after totality as well. Anna, how are you doing here?
I don't know, maybe I'll cry on TV. I am so overwhelmed. It was magical. It's like someone pokes a hole in the sky and it's just dogs barking, birds flapping about, people cheering. It really is magical.
Yeah, there's a public viewing area just on the other side of the river to us here in Llano. There was a wonderful cheer went up as the last bit of the sun disappeared and the solar corona popped out in the sky. And there was also just this lovely cheer at the end when the sun came back as well. Yeah, that was quite special.
Yeah, it's just like a black hole in the sky, and it's the silvery light. I can't explain it. It's not like twilight. It's just so silver, and it's just breathtaking. And if my heart was pounding earlier, it's just, yeah. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't have any words. I am blown away. And it really is to show how magical these experiences are. It's just, yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, the eclipse continues as the moon's shadow races across the United States. So on our live eclipse map there, just above us on the right-hand side of the screen, we can see that the moon's dark shadow, it's now left Llano. It's halfway between Llano, Texas and Arkadelphia, Arkansas. On our main image on the screen there, this is the telescope image coming in from Arkadelphia, from our time and date telescopes on the ground there. That's Constantine and Jeremy getting us, wow, fantastic images there as just that crescent sun gets thinner and thinner and thinner in Arkadelphia. Totality is starting there at 1849, so we're just about 4 minutes away there. A shorter totality, Arkadelphia is slightly nearer the edge of the path of totality than Llano. We'll have just over 2 minutes, about 2 minutes and 12 seconds of totality coming up in Arkadelphia, starting just in the next few minutes. So the totality in Llano, we showed that on the wide screen. For the totality in Arkadelphia, we're going to enjoy that one through the telescope view there. We still have, by the way, let's not forget Burlington in Vermont, up in the northeastern corner. The partial eclipse is going great guns there. Totality in Burlington coming up at 1926. So still a lot of
emotions to go through.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, things are getting really exciting in Arkadelphia. So we're gonna leave you to enjoy just over 2 minutes of totality there in Arkadelphia, and we will be back after that. Don't forget also timeanddate.live for all the latest photos and updates and comments about the eclipse. And Anna's gonna have a little lie down, and we are gonna be back after totality in Arkadelphia. welcome back to this total solar eclipse on timeanddate.com. And we have to say, we really hope that that lots of people across North America are being as fortunate as we've been today with the weather. Right here, we've had 3 spectacular totalities so far from Torreon, here in Llano, and from Arkadelphia. And in particular, we saw some lovely effects through our telescope feed there from Arkadelphia, especially some prominences around the edge of the sun. These sort of little spikes coming off the edge of the sun. We were talking earlier about sunspots, and at the moment there are maybe fewer sunspots than we might expect at this time, because we are nearing the peak period of solar activity. So on the face of the sun, we've kind of had a disappointingly few sunspots, but around the edge of the sun, we have been treated to some really spectacular prominences.
We could see it with the naked eye when we were looking at it in the sky here in Llano as well, the prominences.
Right, yeah, just exactly right. With the naked eye, we could just see this sort of bright red sort of spike on one side of the sun. So we've been really fortunate with that. We also got some beautiful images there of the solar corona as seen through the telescopes from Arkadelphia as well. So,
and it was that even round corona that you were mentioning.
That's right. Yes, because we are near the solar max, as it's known, the peak period of solar activity. That's when we generally have a more symmetrical solar corona. And yes, we did see that in our pictures there. We should say, actually, on that subject, we are continuing to get questions and comments on YouTube, and we did have a follow-up question to our discussion about sunspots and solar activity. A lot of people asking about exactly when is solar maximum going to be? When do we actually reach the peak of this 11-year cycle of solar activity? And the short answer is we don't know for sure. The sun is always a bit unpredictable. We are expecting it around July next year. Is estimated to be the peak, but we don't know for sure at this stage. But yes, we saw a lovely solar corona. We saw some fabulous prominences around the edge of the sun. And Anna, kind of from the view looking up from the ground, what else were the highlights, from the ground?
Well, I'm still trying to calm down from that experience, but I'm doing better at it. You see Graham taking over and taking care of me here. All that talk about clouds, and to see the moon and the sun meet in the sky is just completely overwhelming. We did talk about the birds flying around. We talked about dogs barking, people cheering across the river, super excited. All those things, but also just the temperature. It dropped 10 degrees Celsius. I can really feel it warming up again now. Like I might need to take my jumper off at some point, but it went from 32 degrees Celsius down to 22 degrees Celsius in that time. And now it's warming up again. I had a little lie down on the ground. I looked up, I saw Venus, I saw Jupiter, and the corona, the round, beautiful corona, it was all as you see it here on the telescope, but just a bit more context in it. So it was just beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. Great stuff. Checking in on our eclipse map there. We can see the moon's shadow continuing to speed across the United States. The next marker we have on our map there, that's up in Burlington, Vermont. That's where we have Stefan on the ground there in Burlington. He's been getting fantastic help and support from the organizers there in Burlington. Yeah, at the moment, looking good there, and lovely clear image of the eclipse happening there. Totality in Burlington, well, we have that also on our timeline there on the left-hand side of the screen. That's coming up at 19:26.
So just under half an hour.
So yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, it's more like quarter of an hour.
True.
Yes.
True.
And we'll have a little over 3 minutes of totality in Burlington. Looking back at our eclipse map, the numbers there are beneath the map. The numbers on the right are showing the speed of the moon's shadow, and we can see that as it now gets towards the end of the path of totality, the speed of the moon's shadow is slowly rising. And just as we look at those numbers, we can see them slowly ticking upwards. This is because the moon's shadow is moving across the globe, and as it gets towards the edge of the globe, the Earth is curving away from the shadow. So when we see the shadow on the map here moving across the surface, its speed is increasing on the map because it's actually kind of skimming off the edge of the globe as the Earth kind of curves away from it. So we'll see that speed continue to tick up towards the end of this eclipse. So
even though Stefan is close to the center line there up in Burlington, Vermont, he's up at the Science Museum there. His totality won't be 4 minutes and 24 seconds like here.
That's right. That's one of the things that affects the length of totality at different locations. Yeah, one of the factors is how close you are to the center of the path, and that was really the big difference between Llano and Arkadelphia in terms of our difference there. We had about a 2-minute difference in the length of totality. We were pretty much in the same part of the country. The difference there was that, yeah, Llano very close to the center of the path, and Arkadelphia was much nearer the edge. Yeah, Burlington and up in the northeast corner, totality times are coming down because, yeah, the moon's shadow is moving across the map more quickly. Exactly right. Yes. So that is the next highlight coming up, totality in Burlington at 19:26. Stay with us on timeanddate.live. Don't forget to check out our amazing blog where Aparna is posting fabulous images and reactions from people across North America. And Anna and I will be back here very soon.
You're watching a total solar eclipse here on timeanddate.com. We're live from Llano, Texas. There's live music, there's energy, everybody's really happy. We saw totality. I'm feeling a few raindrops, so it's all good. We saw totality. We've got another amazing totality to come, so it's all happening still. Yeah, what are we supposed to look for next?
Absolutely. Well, just to say that we can keep an eye out for some of these prominences. We've seen some great examples of these today. Just to recap, the sun is this big ball of plasma, these charged particles. There's magnetic fields twisting and turning through the sun, and they can cause these eruptions of plasma up away from the sun's surface, and that produces these sharp spikes of plasma that we've seen some dramatic examples of today. So something to look out for during the next totality.
Great. We will leave you so you can enjoy totality in Burlington, Vermont, and we'll see you back after. You're watching a total solar eclipse here on timeanddate.com. We're streaming live from Llano. There's still a partial in the sky. It is behind clouds again. The cloud just opened for the eclipse, went, oh, and it opened up, and we got to see it. Nature is back to normal. People are getting in their car, their packed cars, they're packing up. We're not packing up. We've still got more fun to go here. And it's just all still happening. And yeah, there's a few drips from the clouds here, actually. A little bit of mugginess. I've got my shirt off. So yeah, it's back to normal here.
It is. Things are really back to normal. Absolutely. And we have enjoyed some spectacular totalities from the time and date telescope teams out across the United States today. We saw amazing totality from Arkadelphia, Arkansas. That was from Konstantin Bikos and Jeremy Krause running the telescopes there. They were, Anna, supposed to be here
Yes,
with us in Llano, but the forecasts have been so changeable over the past few days that yesterday breakfast time they took the final decision to head northeast up into Arkansas, and wow, they picked a fantastic spot. They really read the weather maps perfectly, and they got those fantastic images. And yeah, that was terrific stuff. Our second time and date totality came from Burlington, Vermont. That is Time and Date's CEO and Chief Eclipse Chaser.
yes, extraordinaire.
Extraordinary, right? Stefan Thorsen, and wow, again, a spectacular telescope view of totality from Vermont.
But I still can't get over that view of it getting dark. Now, we had to get out of the way during totality here in Llano, but now we got to see how dark it gets on the screen as well. And the people on the banks of the water, they're just
absolutely
reacting to that.
Yeah. Actually, another nice thing we saw on that wide angle view in Vermont is that we also saw, we saw that things went dark, but we also saw around close to the horizon, we saw that there was still a bit of light there. The moon's dark shadow, by the time it reaches Earth, it is quite small. And in that view from Burlington, we could see kind of the brighter edge of the shadow there. By the way, it has just it's just started raining.
It is dripping here on our
in Llano, Texas. Yes, it just proving how fortunate we've been. We will be talking to Stefan in Burlington in about 15 minutes time, so we can find out more about his adventures in the Northeast.
Yes. We're getting questions again on YouTube. People are curious, they're asking questions. It's wonderful. So why does the eclipse move from west to east?
Right, we can see on our live eclipse map there, and by the way, we can see that the totality shadow there is just about to leave land there. That is the final bit of Canada that is experiencing totality now. Then the moon's shadow moving out into the Atlantic, and we'll be finishing worldwide at 1955. Will be the last spot on the globe to see totality today. That will be out in the middle of the North Atlantic. The question is, right, why is the shadow moving to the east when the sun and the moon, as we see them, move to the west? Well, it is true that the sun and the moon, they rise in the east, they travel across the sky, and they set in the west. But that's not to do with the movement of the moon. That's to do with the Earth's rotation, creating the movement of those bodies in the sky. In fact, the moon does move in the other direction. The moon does move from the west to the east. If you look at the moon's movement across the background of the stars, for example, you will see that from one night to the next, it is slowly moving in an eastwards direction against the background of the stars. Now, the whole thing is moving across our sky towards the west as the Earth rotates, but actually the movement of the moon itself is in the opposite direction towards the east. And so we see that at solar eclipses, solar eclipses always begin somewhere in the world at sunrise, and the shadow and the eclipse path moves to the east and ends at sunset in another part of the globe.
Yeah. So there you go. There's more information about that on our live news feed on timeanddead.live. There's links to all kinds of interesting articles about eclipses. There's reactions to the eclipse in there, so go and have a look. And we're going to be back very soon with Stefan Thorsen, our chief eclipse chaser, very soon. we're still watching a total solar eclipse here in Llano, Texas. It has ended, unfortunately. I did put on my eclipse glasses and see the moon say goodbye to the sun. It was very special, that as well. You're laughing.
And we should also add that we have removed that live eclipse map now that was showing us the position of the moon's dark shadow on the surface of the Earth. That's because that shadow has now left the surface of the Earth. Totality ended in the North Atlantic at 1955, so about 8 minutes ago. And that part of the moon's shadow, the part that causes total solar eclipses, it won't touch the globe again until August 2026. And that's the next time we'll see a total solar eclipse anywhere in the world.
Wow. That's a while from now, but still, we'll be there.
Oh, we'll be there for that one. Yes.
So we've been looking around. Traffic is building up on the road. Sirens are going off. Police is trying to weave through the traffic. Llano is split by a river, so there's a bridge across, single lane on each side, and that was something they were worried about with crowds. So maybe the clouds actually helped it being quite a safe eclipse here in Llano. But in Burlington, things are still going on. Stefan Thorson, he delivered some amazing images of the moon and the sun and the crowds at Echo Science Museum. And we want to say a big, big, big thank you to Nina and Travis for helping him out there. And we can get Stefan on now.
Hello.
Hi, Stefan.
Hi, Anna Graham.
Hey, Stefan, good to see you. And hey, yes. The first thing we want to ask you, Stefan, is we had our Texas team down here where we were planning to have our telescopes here in Llano, Texas, but at the last minute, Konstantin and Jeremy decided to spread our bets, and they headed off to Arkansas. But you, Stefan, were always planning to pick your location in the northeastern United States, at the last moment, deciding, almost the day before where your location was going to be. So, I mean, why did you decide to leave it so late, to pick a location? And, how did you eventually end up in Burlington, Vermont?
The weather is generally not that great in this area of the US, so it's very hard to kind of make a commitment at a single place because, Texas is a more likely place to have good weather. That's why we picked that you were there, obviously. But for us, we flew into New York and had that as a base with a rental car there, so we could go quite far in any direction, more or less, of the path. New York is outside of the totality path, but still it's kind of close to a lot of places in the totality path. And we also had the option of flying out of New York to a bit more remote locations because New York obviously has kind of a good number of flights. So that was we actually had an option to fly to Indiana and fly and get a rental car there, but we didn't exercise that option. So we did decide on Burlington after trying to find, we kind of saw the weather was going, the forecast were actually showing this area, which is generally the worst area in terms of chance of seeing it. And when it turned out to actually be the best, we decided to go here. But the final decision was actually made this morning, the final decision.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. And great call, Stefan. I mean, you called it just perfectly on that. And it has been strange, actually, how the weather did sort of turn around. That, we were historically expecting much better weather down in the southwest. But, really, the northeast had much better pick of things. Yeah.
So, Stefan, we've been stressed over here and feeling the emotional impact of the eclipse. And you've been making decisions really on the fly. So how does it feel now that totality and the amazingness. And how was it for you to experience this eclipse?
The kind of the biggest fear is that you go to a place where you can't see it because and you can't stream it. So there were clouds coming in, and we had clouds almost all day, but they'd be very high clouds, and the telescopes do a good job kind of watching through them. So and I haven't tried that before in a total solar eclipse, how it actually looks. So I was a bit sort of uncertain if this would be a good thing or not. But I'm very happy that we ended up in Burlington, which has been an amazing place, and the museum people have been super helpful to get us power and internet and our own spot and helping us with everything. So thanks a lot to the Ecom Science Museum.
And did you cry like me?
No, I'm not a crier, you know that. So, but it's always you kind of it's amazing, and it was nice to actually have an eclipse. Actually, felt like it lasted a bit anyway. So it's kind of it's still 1 minute left anyway. That's great, because you're a bit busy in the beginning with tuning everything of equipment, and then you actually get a little bit of time to enjoy it. In the previous eclipse in Australia, I had was nearly a minute, and I had like maybe 5 seconds I could actually view it with my eyes. Otherwise, I was busy with everything.
Well, you really did it, Stefan. Amazing, beautiful images, and we were clapping for you here in Lano. Beautiful images.
And it was also very nice to actually be here with all the crowds. There are thousands of people here, not in Burlington overall. So there's been just hearing hearing people's reactions. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Well, we're going to take a deep breath. Yeah. We will be back one last time. Thank you so much, Stefan, for joining us. And we will be watching Stefan's images for a bit longer.
That's right. We should say that, the eclipse continues until 2037 UTC there in Burlington. So we've still got nearly around half an hour of partial eclipse to enjoy there from Burlington.
Yeah. So please don't go anywhere, and we will be back soon to tell you more about what's coming up next.
Welcome back to timeanddate.com. The North American continent has had 3 big solar eclipses in the space of 7 years. There was the Great American Eclipse of August 2017. There was a wonderful annular eclipse in October 2023, last year, that went across the United States, Mexico, Central America, and South America. And today has completed the hat trick, this total solar eclipse across Mexico, the United States, and Canada. But the curtain is coming down on this amazing run of 3 big solar eclipses across North America. We're just really watching the end of things here in Burlington, Vermont. The partial eclipse finishing there at 2037 UTC, so about 12 more minutes to go there. We do, however, have more eclipses coming up. Eclipses come around about every 6 months or so, and they come in pairs. And the next pair of eclipses coming up, we can have a look at them, check the dates on the screen now. Here they are. We have a partial lunar eclipse on September 17th stroke 18th.
Yep.
This will be visible across North and South America, Europe, Africa, and the western part of Asia. We'll also be streaming it live on timeanddate.com. 2 weeks after that, we have an annular solar eclipse across Chile and Argentina. An annular solar eclipse is where we get another perfect alignment of the moon and the sun, but the moon is a bit further away from the Earth, and it's not quite big enough to cover the sun completely. So instead of a total eclipse, we get an annular eclipse where the sun forms a kind of a silhouette, a ring of fire, and the moon becomes this kind of black silhouette against the sun. That's on October the 2nd, and again, we'll be covering that live here on timeanddate.com. Anna, I think you have a few thank yous that we want to say
Yes.
for today.
Yes, I have a cheat list, and you have to bear with me for looking down because there's a lot of people we want to thank. And I'm going to get out of breath like I always do, but that's part of the fun. So we want to have a big thank you to our streaming partners. We've got Neil Sanders down the road from Go Stargazing UK. We've got Robin Higdon and the team from Exploratorium in San Francisco. They got saved the bacon with that lovely image from Torreon, the totality from there. We've got Emily Fafaro, Greg Smith, and the team from NASA. We did miss out on their images, but we're still love them very much. We've got Gary Hawkins and the San Diego Astronomy Association. We've got Jean at MSJ